Let's go!
How you doing, man? I'm Darren from the DK Project, and this is Kristen, my sidekick.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you, Kristen?
I'm doing well. This is crazy to meet you. I'm not gonna lie. I had this moment last night where I was thinking of like the part from Wayne's World where they're bowing down, going, "We're not worthy, we're not worthy," and I popped in my head last night. I was like, "I'm not worthy. I'm not fucking worthy to top the Tommy Chong." So it's great to meet you.
I bet you get that all the time, though, don't you?
Lately, it's been coming around to that. You know, it's the age thing. You know, I'm getting old. Some people are giving me that. He won't be here long, so we better be nice to him. You know, that kind of thing.
What age does that happen exactly? Like when do you cross that threshold to like?
It's hard to say. You know, it just starting to happen to me. I'm 83 now, so.
Oh, you look good, honey. You look good.
Yeah. You know what happens? I got a granddaughter, and I was tripping, you know, because she's 8 months old, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm not going to be here when she's grown, you know, and so it's kind of.
You don't know. They're saying now that people could live to be 100 plus.
Yeah, but mentally. That's what I'm talking about, being here.
There's limits. You know, I it's funny you bring that up because you just turned 83, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's a good run. You've been
so far, yeah.
For a long time. That is so cool. I was doing some research because I knew you were coming on, and you started this a long time ago.
Yep. Yeah, I sure did. Well, I had nothing else. I had nothing else to do, you know.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well go for the big ring, you know. Yeah. I've known, you know, very early in my life that I was destined to be something. I wasn't sure what it was, and I wasn't really giving it much thought. I was just like looking, you know, and I found it. It was pretty nice. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I found it.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I got some real good early spiritual training. It was a religious camp that I went to for poor kids. You know, they went out. The missionaries went out in the country one summer, and they found me and my brother walking down a dirt road, you know, barefoot, and they pulled up and they said, "Would you like to go to Bible camp?" And I said, yes, immediately, you know. Just the word camp sounded good. You know, I've always loved to travel. You know, I've been traveling all my life since I was a baby, and it's in the blood, you know. So a trip, yeah, I'm in. And I went to Bible camp for a couple of weeks with my brother, and it really took. You know, I was at that perfect age where it just resonated. Everything resonated, and plus, you know, I feel it was ordained. You know, I was chosen.
Okay.
You find yourself to still be following the Bible a little bit, or have you gotten away from it?
Oh no! The opposite. I went on a like a metaphysical search. Good 20 years, I guess. Yeah, it was 19, probably around 67. No, actually, but more like 65, because I dropped acid in 1965.
Okay.
And that sort of put me on the path.
Is that how you benchmark it? I'm curious as to how, being 83 years old, you can say it was 65. Like, I can't remember what I did last week. Crap.
I've been doing so many interviews, and, you know, people always asking the questions. And the thing is with me, I do have a really, really vivid memory because there was nothing ordinary about my life ever. And so I can remember every little part. I can even remember being in a crib, and my dad was in the Army, and he brought his drunken friends home, and they were leaning over to see the baby, and one of them dropped a ash of a cigar, and it landed on me, and I started screaming. And my mother told me about what happened, because my mother, she grabbed me right away and brushed it off. But I remember, I can literally physically remember that time.
Oh,
and I remember
dramatic.
yeah, I remember another time when we were playing with crayons. We're little guys, and I copied a Kotex box, perfect. I wrote the word perfect, and that created an uproar in the house,
Yeah.
and that's, I think that was my first bit of entertaining, because I got a lot of attention for that one,
And then,
because the letter Kotex was written so nice, and I just copied it just faithfully. Yeah, I got a really good memory, and because I don't, like I said, I think my life was kind of special. My mother told me that too. She had TB, and so I didn't see her after that incident. She ended up in the sanitarium for 5 years. For 5 years, and so I ended up in a hospital with pleurisy, a little spot, because we all got checked when my mother got TB. We all got checked, and they found this little spot on my lung, and so they put me in the hospital when I was like 3, I guess, 2 or 3, around that. And anyway, and then I went right from the hospital to the Salvation Army home, which was like an orphanage, because my dad was a single parent, and he was recovering from some war issues, that he had during the Second World War. And so the family ended up in the Salvation Army home, and we made headlines too, because we were mixed kids, or mixed, half Chinese, and my little sister, they showed her, they were bathing her in a tub, and they showed the picture of this happy little brown girl being So I've always sort of been in and out of the spotlight.
So you got the bug early, and then jumped into the band. You got into the band, man.
Yeah. Well, I started playing music. I found out I was musical, I guess, around 7, 8 years old. Yeah. And I could play the guitar good enough for a fiddle player that lived across the field from me. And then I started playing house parties at an early age for dancing.
Yeah.
And that gave me that solid base of rhythm guitar, and so that was my beginning. And plus, we were poor because we lived in the country, and there was no entertainment, period. I mean, we had a radio. That's all we had. And in our first house, we had no indoor plumbing or indoor lights. It was a shack basically. And a few years of that upbringing, and then all we had was music. All I had was my guitar. It was my mother's guitar, by the way. I still got it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's right behind me.
Wow.
Hanging up. Yeah, well, I had to redo it. It was one of those kind with a hula girl on it.
Okay.
From Sears.
Yeah. I remember that.
So in fast forward, now you're 83. What do you think? And I'm just totally jumping off topic here, but what do you think's been the craziest thing that you've seen? I mean, I'm looking at 50, and there's been a few weird things I've seen, but 83, you've probably crossed a few, like major, from travel to
what has stuck out,
like just the way technology and the way that the world has evolved over 82
Oh,
years.
oh, for sure.
What do you, what do you think is
it's my life. It was a total my entire life. Was when I was born. They started the prohibition of marijuana, 1938. Okay. That was the year that I was born, and so I feel like I was put here to get weed legal.
Yep.
That was my next question.
That's right.
We'll come back to that. But so in 83 years, what's the biggest thing? Like, oh my gosh, when we went to, like now cars are starting to drive themselves and shit. Like what along the way has been quite a big surprise for you? Like,
well, not so much a surprise. Back in 80, I guess 80, Cheech and I broke up around 1984. And I got interested in electric cars. There was a guy, an actor here that had an electric car. And
that's early.
Yeah, somewhere around there, and electric bikes. I made an electric bike. I guess it was 80, let's see, 84, 85, 80, probably about 88, 89. I made an electric bike. Well, at least I had a friend of mine that whose dad was like an engineer. And we put an old car battery on a 3-wheel bike, and we had an electric bike. And so I was ahead of the curve there. And, I guess the one of the biggest things that we got was a telephone, because when we lived in the country, we had to, if we wanted to use the phone, we had to go down to the corner store and ask if we could
have money in your pocket.
Yeah. That was a huge thing, because I can the old Seinfeld shows where he had the big old landlines, and then he had a car phone.
Yeah, with the bag.
Yeah, I had a car phone with my BMW. I almost had a horrendous accident because I was on the car phone and I'm going down the Santa Monica freeway, and all of a sudden I missed the sign where it says construction starts here. The road ends and the construction starts, and next thing I know, I'm halfway into a construction area with me on the phone. So I never used the phone after that.
Early on. So then so after the band and everything, you get into you meet up with Cheech, and how did that all come together? You guys are from the same area or what?
Oh no, not at all. Again, very serendipity. I was with Motown. We got, first of all, I've always had a band. I was always in a band. Like we had the first rhythm and blues band in Western Canada, in Calgary, and we were so good that we got run out of town by the mayor.
Oh my God.
Literally. I always had a social conscience, and so I started a teen club in Calgary, and that was like a stroke of genius in one way, because we got the Legion Hall in Calgary, a beautiful dance hall, and we got it Friday and Saturday, and boy, we packed that place. I mean, you can believe it. And the mission was to get in with like $1.25 or something like that, and we made a ton of money, and we were having such good times. The only problem is that we had to quit it because of the liquor laws. Even though they didn't serve liquor where we were, you had to stop the entertainment at midnight on Saturday. And so we would have all these rock and roll crazies with nothing to do after midnight in Calgary. And so they would go terrorize the city. And so when the mayor asked us to come to his for a meeting at his office, I thought we were going to get some kind of a plaque or award or something. Instead, we were told to get out of town during the Christmas. This is the thing: get out of town during the Christmas holidays. You guys got to shut down and get out of town. And of course the band, we're all ready to travel anyway, and so we just headed for Vancouver, and that was the first time away from home, and having a hot band. I mean, it was heaven. Anyway, we ended up staying in Vancouver. The band broke up and reformed and broke up a few times, and but anyway, we kept playing, and next thing you know, we got offered. We started a nightclub. There was an empty dance hall, a theater, a converted movie theater into a dance hall. It was empty, and so we checked it out, and we got the owner to give us a try. We had to rent it, but and then to open the dance hall, we hired Ike and Tina Turner. The Ike and Tina Turner Review, and we got them on a Tuesday night for $750. The whole kit and caboodle, the band, the Ikeettes, Ike and Tina, and we packed that place. And again, we were too successful. The city closed us down the next week, really? Because we were too successful.
Is this a different place or is this the same one?
No, this is Vancouver now. We got run out of Calgary. We never went back to Calgary. The hell with Calgary. We were having too much fun in Vancouver. Vancouver was wide open.
What was really reason for shutting you down?
What was their reason?
Yeah.
Which one? The first one?
Vancouver.
Well, Vancouver shut us down because we attracted the rock and roll crowd, and the problem is we never had a liquor license, and so they did all their drinking in their cars, and then their beer bottles and all the line. It was like a very sort of like a kind of an upscale neighborhood, and next thing you know, we got these rock and roll hordes dropping beer bottles all over the lawns and everything else. And so they went to the city, and of course, the city again called us in. And this time I didn't go. My partner, who was black, and he wore a beautiful yellow suit, and that's the only thing that the paper mentioned in the article. And this black man with a yellow suit, and they closed us down. They shut us down. Well, they give us an option. They said, we can't close you down, but we would advise that you did. And so then we found another venue, and we weren't too smart. We had no idea that location. And the thing is about this upscale neighborhood, that was one of the reasons that was so popular. And then we got this other venue in Chinatown, which was not very popular. So we operated there for a while, and then we ran. We couldn't make it. So then we went back on the road, and then eventually, because the band was so good, this guy that bought a building had a steakhouse in the basement, and so he offered it to us rent free, to put a nightclub in, and we did, and it was the most successful club that we had. Wow. It was an after hours bottle club, and then we got the best musicians and one of the greatest singers ever, and we became the place to go to. People would drive up from Seattle. People like Jimi Hendrix would come up and just sit in the audience, and we became so popular. We got known all over the States, for the music. And so eventually the Supremes played Vancouver, and they came down, and Diana Ross saw the group, heard the singer, and called Berry Gordy. And Berry Gordy flew to Vancouver, actually to be with Diane, but he flew there and checked out her and signed us right away, and then forgot about us. Signed us and forgot about us. And so then we actually played our way from Vancouver to Detroit. We went from Vancouver to Seattle, did a beautiful gig there, packed them in. Then we went to LA and played at a club called Maverick Flats, and became more. We had the Fifth Dimension and Chaka Khan and all the people that heard about us.
Damn.
So they were all in the audience.
Like early 80s?
67.
Wow.
1966, 67. Yeah. Yeah. And then we finally made it to Detroit. And but without the song or the musician that wrote the songs.
Mm-hmm.
We showed up there with just the band, and Barry Gordy said, well, where's the guy that writes all the music? And we said, well, so we sent for him. And then Tom Baird was his name. He saw my book of poems, and I don't know, he was over at the house. He looking through my poetry, and he found a poem that he really liked, and he asked me if he could put it to music, and I said sure. And so it became our one hit, that Does Your Mama Know About Me? It's a story about a racial interracial thing, and it changed Motown, because when they heard that song and Bobby doing it, Bobby Taylor, Diana Ross recorded it. She loved it so much.
Wow.
Jermaine Jackson recorded it. A bunch of stars recorded it. But what it did, it changed the tenure, the mood at Motown. Then they went into Papa Was a Rolling Stone and Love Child and all that socially responsible music. So we had quite a thing. And then I got fired from Motown.
You get fired from Motown?
Yeah. Well, we were Canadians, you see. And so we were living in Detroit, and the Canadian, we had no thought about immigration. And so half the band were Canadian. So Christmas time, a lot of them went home to Toronto, where they lived. And they then getting back, they told the truth. What are you doing in Detroit? And, oh, we're working for Motown, and we're recording an album. Well, do you have your permit, your green card, and all that? They said no. And so then immigration come knocking on our doors and said, you have to get out of town. You have to go back to Canada. So I went back to Canada. Then I told Barry Gordy, and Barry Gordy said, well, we'll have to get your green card. But he didn't tell the guy that was handling Chris Clark, who I ended up playing. I was supposed to be playing backup for her, and so I had to tell Johnny Bristow, the road manager, that I had to leave the gig to get my green card, and he didn't know what a green card was. And so he told me, if you leave, you're going to get fired. You're going to be fired. And he said, don't bother coming back. But I had to come back because I had all my instruments, and I had my then girlfriend and our baby in the motel. So I had to come back, and when I got back, he actually fired me. I didn't think I'd get fired, but he actually fired me. And so I took my girlfriend and the baby, and then I ended up quitting Motown, because Barry Gordy called me up a couple of days later and said, oh, you're not fired. It was a mistake. And I told Barry, I said, no, I think I want to be fired. I want to become a Barry Gordy. I don't want to work for one. Hey. And so he said, I respect that. And he gave me a nice severance pay. And so then I packed up my girlfriend and our baby, our love child, and I headed for Los Angeles. For the beach. I headed for the beach, Venice Beach. Nice. Because my dream was to work out at Gold's Gym, because I was a bodybuilder at the time, and I wanted to go there and just lay on the beach, write songs, and have a nice life, and which I ended up doing, by the way.
American dream. That's awesome. Yeah. And that's, you met Cheech then, or what?
No. And then, we had the nightclubs. We had the after hours nightclub was going. And I had a wife and two children, like I was a real musician. I had two families. And so but and it was a black lady, Maxine, very beautiful lady that really helped me through my career, because she was the one that had the steady job, and so they ended up in Los Angeles. Her brother was the drummer of the Three Dog Night.
Wow.
And so Floyd was already settled here. So Maxine decided that she got comfortable in Detroit, but Detroit was a little bit too rough. And so we ended up moving the family to Los Angeles. And that's where Robbie and Ray Dawn, my older daughters, grew up and ended up. I ended up going back to Vancouver to get the clubs happening again. And that's when I was offered another club, which was a strip club.
Hey.
And actually, I had the strip club going at that time. Or did I?
You have?
Yeah, I had the strip. We had a strip club and an after hours club. And then I started, because I never had a band, I had nothing to do. So I started working the lights at the strip club, and watching the show. And so then I decided that, because I was a big improvisational acting fan, and I thought, well, I can change the strip club into a improvisational club, and keep the girls, doing their naughty little dances and that, but in the form of a improvisational acting thing.
Wow.
Which was a genius move, except no, we packed the place. We literally packed the place. I had the original MC quit because it was too much work for him, and so I asked the doorman to become, the MC, and he said, "I'll do it if you do it." And it was a challenge, and so I ended up on stage, and I'm.
So you're doing improv with strippers behind you?
No, not behind it. Part of the show.
Oh.
They were the girls. They became, instead of strippers, they became real people. Wendy and Maureen.
Shtick, or you were just
Michelle. What's that?
You weren't writing any shtick. It was just go with it and see what happens.
Oh no. We would do it, the whole improv thing. We would do a show, and then we would take suggestions from the audience. And then the audience would leave, and they'd give us suggestions. They would leave, a new audience would come in. But now we had that creative thing going. It wasn't just do one show. We had to do 2 shows a night, and they would be 2 new shows. And then when we found bits that really worked, then we would repeat them, and then we would create the other ones. And the girls were phenomenal actresses. We could have kept going, except we changed the audience. Now we went from 20 drunk bikers that would throw money at anything,
right,
to 300 theater goers that would sip their wine and count their change.
Wow.
And it was maddening. It was maddening. My brother, because we're packing the place, looked like we're successful. We got write-ups in the paper, and that's where we met Cheech, by the way, because we had a straight man. We had a straight man whose wife did not know what he was doing. She did not know he was working with strippers. She thought he was doing legitimate theater and some community theater. And then he hit the front page with titties on either side of him. and his wife, that was the end of his career with us. And so we needed a straight man. And so this mutual friend, this Russian, by the way, Ihor Tordnik, said, I got this guy working for me. He owned like a hippie newspaper, and Cheech was writing for the guy at the time. And so he suggested Cheech, and I met Cheech, and we both looked at each other. Neither one of us knew what the other guy was,
Yeah.
Because Cheech wasn't admitting to anybody that he was Mexican. He was, no one knew what he was Mexican. And me, I just looked like a Mongol, some kind of Mongol, long-haired biker hippie. And so that's when Cheech and I met. And Cheech, he was a straight man. He was kind of quiet and he'd just watch, but he had learned everything really fast. And he was also a singer originally, a vocalist. And so, and I played guitar. And so when the group finally had to disband because we were losing money, Cheech and I stayed together and we formed a band. And then we entered the Battle of the Bands contest, and we never played one note. We went out. we went out and did 45 minutes of comedy, and that was the beginning of Cheech and Chong. That was before we had a name. And we're driving home in my dad's Dodge Rambler, and the windshield wipers weren't working. And so it was raining, as it always does in Vancouver. And so we're taking turns working the windshield wipers while I drove. And we're trying to think of a name because we said we killed. It was so good. And we won the Battle of the Bands, by the way. Oh, the audience loved us that much. And so we knew we had something. And so we had to come up with a name. And finally I asked Cheech, do you have a nickname? And he said, yeah, Cheech. And that was the first time that I had any kind of inkling that he was Mexican. In fact, I didn't know until we had to cross the border. And even then, Cheech used a phony ID. It was so easy. Yeah, he used a phony ID, a white guy's ID. And he just walked into America like that. And then we struggled for a couple of years, and we actually lived at my now ex-wife's house. Okay. You know, we were still together, but as soon as I became a comedian, that was the end of it. As long as I was a musician, she could put up with everything. But the minute I became a comedian, it's like, get your sick, sorry ass out of here. and my girlfriend, now wife, Shelby, she was working at the club when I was doing the improv, and making a ton of money. She made more money than the bar because she was a sexy little thing, and she wore the sexy little dresses. And then she was the first one there, and she had so many tables, and she just raked it in. And she would count the money in front of my dad, who was a bartender. And my dad, you know, he's so Chinese, and you know, that cash, look at that he's not going to get. To torture the hell.
I was going to bring that up. Your wife is
smoking.
Yeah, smoking hot.
Your wife is super smoking fucking hot.
Yeah, she is. She is. And can you imagine back then? She looked so young. She couldn't get a job in the States, you know, because she just looked too young.
I was
and so I gave. So she was working in the clubs. That was her first and probably only job other than babysitting, until she started working on the road with me as a comedian. Oh no, we've been together. I've known her since she was, I think, 16 years old.
Wow.
She was a friend. She was just. That's why we're still together. You don't break up with friends.
True.
You know.
There you go.
And we were friends, and then we took acid together, and then we made love for the first time, her first time, and guess what? She got pregnant.
Oh wow!
On the acid.
And so we had to make that choice. You know, it was so easy to lose the baby, but neither one of us wanted that. And so she was going to have the baby, and so she had the baby, and so she was on the road with me, pregnant, when I was doing the Motown thing, and she never bought any maternity clothes. She just let out the back of the dresses that she had. Nice. And after she had the baby, she could wear the clothes again. She is a phenomenon. There's something, I mean, it blows everybody's mind. You know, that she is so beautiful, and she works at it. You know, it's not, you know, just God given. I mean, she does like 3 or 4 dance classes and ballet and ballroom and yoga, and she eats like a little bird. And,
Well, I noticed, like, I seen video of you guys online. You guys make sense when you see you together. You make sense together. You don't get that with a lot of couples. It's just like you see them like, oh, they're supposed to be together. You guys just really make sense. You really, really.
It's always been that way. I mean, she you know, I mean, she's like a Lucy or Marilyn Monroe. She's got that quality. Like she's so artistic. She paints. She's such a oil painter. I mean, she's bilingual. She learns French. When we're in LA, she was going to UCLA and learning French.
Oh wow.
You know, I'm from Canada, and I lived in Paris. We lived in Paris. I still did learn. I have a hard time with English.
I do have a question though. When's the last time that you dropped acid? How many has it been? Years recently?
Oh, it's been
a long time.
almost 50 years.
Almost 50?
Well, I'll tell you, I can tell you exactly. It was probably about 47 years ago. Yeah. We were in Boulder, Colorado. No, in Aspen.
Okay.
Aspen. Was it Aspen? Yeah, it was Aspen. We're in Aspen. And no, Denver.
Okay.
It was Denver. We were in Denver, and that's when acid was everywhere. And the guy, he's I got this window pane for you. He met us at the airport and picked us up. I got this window pane, and so my wife, now wife, girlfriend, she was still a girlfriend then. Her and her sister were doing tiny little bits of acid to get high, and so we both did a little dab of this what's that, blue window paint, and then I wanted to go to a Disney movie, you know, to see cartoons, you know, to see cartoons and have a nice trip, you know. So we looked in the paper and we found this Thumbelina. Oh, the movie Thumbelina. That's perfect. And so we took our little 3-year-old daughter, Precious at the time. So we go to the theater, and it's in the ghetto. The theater's in the ghetto. And so we get in there, and there's all these little black kids running around. And then Thumbelina is a story about a woman that marries a rat. And it's not a cartoon. It's not animation. It's a live thing. And we're on acid. And this woman's going to marry this rat. And both Shelby and I were going, we don't like this. Now my little daughter, she's digging the hell out of it. And these little kids were running up and down the theater, and it felt like they were little rats running around. And so I freaked out. I got to get out of here. My wife, Shelby, she said, yeah, let's go. And my daughter, no, I want to. I don't want to. So we go out the back door of the theater. Now we're in a strange town, and it snowed. Now we're in the back door, and there's snow on the ground, and there's nothing around there. And so we walk around the corner, and we see a service station, you know, next by the theater. So we'll get over to the service station, and we're both tripping like crazy. And we go to the thing, and I says, can you call us a cab? And the guy hands me the phone. I says, can you do it for us? And both Shelby and I are kind of clinging to each other, you know, just tripping as big as we could. And my little daughter, she's still pissed because she wanted to see the movie. She never forgave us for that. So we finally got the cab, and luckily, you know, I remembered where we lived, you know, in what hotel we were in. So we finally made it back. That was the last acid trip that I took.
The phone part makes me laugh because I've done acid like a handful of times, but the last time I really did it, I tripped the hardest I ever tripped. And my friend just left out of nowhere. And my friend Tina was like, call supposed to where he's at. And I was like looking at the phone, turning around. I'm like, I don't know how to use this. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, I was like, I don't know how to use the phone anymore. And I was like, I just like gave her my phone, like, take the phone. And then the rest of the night it's pretty much sat silent. But no, it just made me think because I was like, I don't even know how to use the phone because I'm tripping so hard right now.
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy. It was so because it came on so much.
Yep.
And I don't know why we did the whole thing, because
Mm-hmm.
before my Shelby would only do a tiny little bit, just enough to get a little buzz,
Yeah.
But that's the way she eats anyway,
Yeah.
She'll eat a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then leaves it, It was amazing.
You have a lot of your family involved in your now current business and whatnot, right? Like how is that? How is that working with family and everything you got going on?
I've always done that. That's
Yeah.
been my thing. It was actually a sore point with Cheech and I, because I wanted to put my wife in the movie right away, but Cheech is old school, and he didn't want his family anywhere near, what we were doing, and so I ended up when I finally got the rank, like I wrote Up in Smoke and directed a lot of Up in Smoke, but Lou Adler, he was the one on the record, and so he was the record, the director of On Record, and he added quite a bit to Up in Smoke, but I did most of it, and so when I got a chance to direct my own movie, all the rest of them, like Next Movie, Nice Dreams, Things Are Tough All Over, and all them, that's when I put Ricky, Cheech's wife, in the first movie, Next Movie, and then I put my wife a little bit part in Nice Dreams. But then when I did Things Are Tough All Over, that's when I put Ricky and Shelby both in the movie. They were the princesses, the foo-foos, the French girls. No, I really, and then I got a movie in the basement right now called Best Buds, where it's unfinished. I had a director. I made all the stupid mistakes, When you do anything, hire the best. Don't go for the bargain, So I was shooting this documentary, this docu kind of movie. It's a movie, in Vancouver, with a documentary filmmaker, and I got halfway through the movie, and then I wanted to bring it up to L.A. or down to L.A. to finish it. And he kind of stole the movie. He wouldn't let me do it because I wasn't going to use him. And so he just grabbed it, and we went through all the court thing, and and finally when I got it, when you lose that momentum, and it's sitting in my basement now, I had to spend money to get it back, with the lawyers and that. But I mean that's everybody, every movie maker has that.
Is
story,
was that a Cheech and Chong documentary?
No. Cheech and I broke up when he did Born in East LA.
Born in East LA. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. That's when we broke up. In fact, we just finished doing a documentary just lately. We're in the desert. My other daughter, Robbie, and her guy, Dave Bushnell, he's doing a documentary on Cheech and Chong.
Oh, okay.
And it's like the last one. And then we were in the desert finishing that movie up.
Gotcha.
But Cheech and I, we had to kind of rehash the old fights, why we broke up, and that. I learned quite a bit. I learned quite a bit about how Cheech felt. I never knew how Cheech felt about it, and I did. It was he was looking for that conflict, that every movie should have, but. But yeah, you're right. I use all my family. My son is my manager, and he is the one that came up with the bong company that I ended up going to jail for. and we're back doing bongs again.
Nice.
Was,
Love it.
Yeah.
you had trouble for sending paraphernalia through the mail? Is that what it was?
Technically, it was no. What happened? The DEA tried to entrap us, and they tried to get us to send it through the mail, and we wouldn't do it because we knew it was illegal. And so they showed up at the place in person, and I'm quite sure they had an undercover agent in the shop, because somehow their shipment got sent to the DEA office in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, and that was the base. That's when we broke the law, and that's when they came after me. Now I was still innocent, because technically I other than my name, I wasn't on there, but my son was, and my wife Shelby was assigned a check to start the bong company. And so technically they could go after my wife and my son. And so they said if I plead guilty, that I would probably get house arrest and they'd be done with it,
Mm-hmm.
So I pled guilty, and they gave me 9 months in jail. And,
How was that? Now, I read somewhere that you had Jordan Belfer as your bunkmate in the old house.
Yep, I sure did.
The story said to be incredible. Well, between the two, you could go all 9 months.
Yeah, Joe, I was in there. I guess I was in there about a month or two. Then Jordan came in, and at first, we were cordial, but he was a different kind of guy, and I had other friends in the. I had the hierarchy, we were at the top of the jail. We had our own private dining room. We had our own home cooked meals every day.
So the posh treatment for the celebrities is true then.
We had that. Well, what happens in prisons, the intelligent ones rise to the top, and they're the ones that are running the prison.
Yeah.
Because the guards in that, they're really not that equipped. They're the guards for the most part are ex National Guard people or guys that couldn't get a job at Burger King, or older ladies that might as well work, as a jail guard, pays good and you don't have to do anything. And so they use the intelligent prisoners. They put them right in the office. And all prisons are run by inmates. If you saw Shawshank Redemption, that's the way it is.
Wow.
And so when we were, and so we had, he's a golf caddy now. He's a caddy for Harris English. Harris almost won the last tournament, and he's on the PGA circuit now. Eric Larson. Now Eric had been in jail 10 years before I got there, and so he had it all figured out. We had in for the commissary. We had, like we never ate in the mess hall. I ate in the mess hall, only the dining room they call it, only because I wanted that experience. I didn't have to, but I But can you imagine going to a prison and you never ate in the mess hall?
So right.
Oh, it's pretty it's pretty cold blooded, because you're allowed like 15-20 minutes to eat. Wow. And then you get the hell out of there. It's not a social thing at all.
Wow.
And when you leave, you knock on the table. Yeah, when you leave, you knock on the table. Like, do it's like a custom. They had some.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like what are you signaling?
It's like I'm out of here. Thank you. I don't know what it is, but everybody knows. And what they mostly did with the food, they took it to the field and fed the ground squirrels. And the food really was so bad. It was inedible. You couldn't eat it. And so Eric, by the way, he created a garden. He had a he's a Wisconsin farm boy, and so he had this phenomenal garden growing, and which the food would go to the food bank in Bakersfield, but we were allowed to take whatever food we wanted for our meal.
Nice.
You know, Eric was allowed it, and it was in the garden was big enough that you could kind of disappear in there. And so as soon as I met Eric, I'd go hang out at the garden. Except one day I missed the 2:00 count. In fact, it was the first day that I was in the garden. I missed it because no one told me about the 2:00 count. And so I missed it. And so when you do the 2:00 count, you're not there, then the alarm goes out. Where the hell is this guy? You know, he could be a runaway. Yeah, he could be running. And so I'm out in the garden, and I see this CO coming up across there, and he's looking kind of angry, you know. And he's, Chong, yes, sir. What are you doing here? Working in the garden. He said, do you know what time it is? I says, no. He says, it's 2:00. You're supposed to be beside your bunk at 2. No, get back, you know, get over there, you know. And so I went over there, and they told me, and you're not allowed in the garden, and blah, you know, they went through that whole thing. So I had to stay out of the garden for a couple of weeks, and then good old Eric, you know, he figured out a way I could take a class, a botany class, and it's taught in the garden. And so next thing you know, I'm down there. But I didn't have to work because I was older. You know, I was in my late 60s. And so they said, but they give me a job sweeping the sidewalks in there. And I got into it. I love sweeping, you know. I love cleaning stuff, you know. I really got into it. Most prisoners, they didn't sweep. They would just take the broom, put it beside the pool room, and go play pool and then come back. You know, they wouldn't do any work. They had this rebel kind of thing. I was the opposite. You give me a job, I'll do it the best I can, and I'll think of ways to do it. I was looking for stuff to sweep, and you know, I was getting in between cracks in the cement.
Well, you in there like 9 months?
I was in there 9 months, yeah.
And you're probably the only person who's had a good time while they were there? Or what?
There was a few. There was a few of us.
What else?
In fact,
growing in the garden, Tommy.
What's that?
What else were you growing in the garden? Is what I.
Well, to tell you the truth, you couldn't. You know, pot. They tried to bust me for a pot.
In prison,
they had
jail.
They had. Well, yeah, they had snitches. See, every prison has a bundle of snitches.
Listen to Chris. Yeah.
I watch a lot of that TV show Locked Up because I was like, I'm fascinated by that world. So that's why I'm like, yeah, there's snitches in prison.
No, the snitches. If you snitch on somebody, you get time knocked off your sentence.
Oh yeah. But then you're a rat.
That's why they do it. They don't do it. You know, they don't do it out of love of the cops. You know.
Yeah.
And so these snitches would have joints that I guess the prison gave them, these marijuana cigarettes, because they wanted to catch me smoking. But I had a dog with me. A dog is your best friend that you travel around the prison with, you know?
Yeah.
And it was really funny how I got my dog. I got to tell you this, it's funny. I was studying tango before I went into prison. And so I would practice my tango walk on the basketball court right at the end of when usually no one was playing there at one end or another. And so I practiced my tango walk. And it looked like some crazy guy doing some kind of weird walk. And because I was famous, I had a big audience. But I'm a comedian. I'm used to audiences anyway. You know, in fact, I perform better in front of an audience. And so I'm doing my walk, and they were mostly bikers, you know, and they were big fans. You know, a lot of them were fans, you know, but they were like they were the bikers that were allowed to be in the low into the camps. They were nonviolent and nonviolent crimes and stuff like that. So they're like real nice pussycats, kind of nice guys, you know. And so there's one biker, he got real loud. He goes, "Hey, Chong, you don't have to dance alone. Come on, I'll dance with you." Har, 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 har. And so I didn't miss a beat. I walked right over to him and took him in my arms. And he got all homophobic. Oh, Jesus. And from that day on, he was my dog. He was my favorite guy. And so yeah, a big guy. He could bench press 400 pounds. He had tattoos. He had white supremacy tattoos on his back, and he was a beautiful Steve Larson, a beautiful guy, and been in jail all his life, in and out of jail. Like he just knew. And so we're walking the track because that's what you do in prison. There's a big running track, and you just walk that track when you're not reading or in your cell or in your cubicle. And so we're walking the track, and I told Steve, I says, teach me how to do time, And he said, yeah, okay. His first thing, games. You got to get into games. You got to play a lot of games, and like pool, something like that. And he said, do you play pool? I said, yeah, I can play pool. He said, come on, let's go play pool. Well, Steve didn't really know, my background. I'm a Canadian, and Canadian, the pool tables up there are like billiard tables, and the balls are smaller and the holes are smaller. And so you got to be really accurate. You can't play around. You got to know it. And I kind of grew up with pool tables since I was like 15. Hanging out in the pool. That's where all the bad people hung out in the pool rooms. And so I could play, but I also knew that you never let your opponent know. you don't brag. You act kind of stupid. So I kind of like, oh. Yeah, this looks like fun. and so Steve's, and he's easing up on me a little bit because he's really good pool player. So we play. I win the first game. And the look on his face, he got real serious. He says, okay, rack him up. And I said, nope. He said, what?
Nope.
I said, my record with you is perfect. It's going to stay that way. I got him so good because we made a bet, and the bet was push-ups on demand. That's another thing about prison. You don't bet the money. You bet stupid things like push-ups on demand, meaning that I can say to him, Steve, give me 2, give me 3, give me 4. we bet 20 push-ups. And so we're walking the track that night, and Steve's complaining to all the bikers because they used to walk with us about how I played one game with them and I wouldn't play the game. I wouldn't play another game with them, and what a chicken shit guy you are, and and so I said, Steve, give me 2.
Yeah.
In front of all the bikers, and then he gave me I wish I'd known all this. The look on his face. Then he went down. He said, "Let me do them all." I said, "No, give me 2."
I like your style.
Those push-ups, they lasted for at least a month, maybe longer. Maybe longer. It was 1 here, 2 there.
Yeah.
Whenever we got and then another game he played was checkers.
Okay.
And I grew up on the farm. We had no television. We had no radio. We had a radio, but we had no other entertainment except checkers. And my brother and I played checkers until it became advanced checkers.
Yeah.
And so we played checkers. I whipped his ass so bad, and it was one of those dreams you never dream it would happen, but where he leaves everything, so he jump. Oh man! And then he said, "Books. You got to get into books. You got to read a book." And so then I got him reading a book. I said, "Have you ever read Moby Dick?" And Steve said, "No." So I had him read Moby Dick. I turned him on to a few good books, I read some.
You guys stay in touch?
What's that?
You and Steve stay in touch?
I was trying to talk him into becoming an actor, because he was beautiful face. I mean, everything. And when he got out, let's see, I got out. No, we almost got out the same time. Anyway, he looked me up. Now I had a yard in a machine shop area. I was sharing with another with the guy that sold cars, and so I got Steve a job working for him, Eric, Evan, to start off with, and then I was going to get Steve to, to the unions and get him to the extra work in that. But as soon as he got out, he got back on heroin, because that was a thing, and he worked he worked when like 2 days, yeah. He went to get a hamburger, and it's also in the ghetto too. This is in Hawthorne. And he went to get a hamburger at the hamburger stand, and he's standing in line. All the black people are there, and they're reading his tattoos. And he's got white power on his back, and they said, this one black lady goes, "What does that white power mean?" And Steve says, you know, black power. You know what that means? Yeah. Well, it's white power. and the conversation, by the way.
Yes.
but Steve, he couldn't maintain. He's a heroin addict.
Yeah.
And then I saw him again when we played in San Diego or La Jolla. And Steve came to the show, and it's typical Steve. He shows up with a car. He's got the spare on the car because you know that funny wheel. The donut. He's got that, and so I gave him I think I gave him $500, and that was the end of it. That Steve knows, that. Because he knew that, how I was about heroin, and he's, that's his life. That was his life thing, But while we were there, I mean, one time they had a guitar room, that was supposed to be where they had the kiln if you did the pottery. And the kiln, they took the kiln out, they put it in the warehouse, and they had all these guitars there. And next to the guitar room was another room called the drum room. And I hated going to the guitar room, because the drum room, there's always some guy in there just playing the hell out of drum, and not very good, just loud. And it got annoying. In fact, all the musicians in there got annoying. when they took me, they found out I was in jail. You got to come to the guitar room. And I go to the guitar room, and everybody's got a guitar, And so they handed me a guitar, and they wanted me to play, And so I started playing. The next thing you know, everybody's joining in.
Very nice.
Not playing what I'm playing, by the way. Everybody's playing the one or two things that they know, and it sounded, it was the worst nightmare in the world for a musician. Oh God!
What jail were you in that had a guitar room and a drum room? And
it's called Taft.
Taft?
A pool room. Taft. They had tennis courts. And Taft, California. It's where Halderman and Ehrlichman. That's where they did their time. It's a camp, and now it's behind a real hardcore prison. There we go. It's a hardcore prison in front.
Wow.
With I think 1,000 or so, a couple of thousand people in there, but the camp only held about 400 people. And we had 2 dorms, and we had everything. We had like a garden, we had a camp, we had, and then I started doing the sweat lodge, and the sweat lodge was the Native Americans' church, and so I became one of the members of the church. I had to learn. In prison, yeah. And every Saturday we could do all day Saturday, and Saturday night we could do the sweat lodge. And in fact, sometimes.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Now you're a quarter Native American, right?
Yes.
Yes, I remember
Yes.
hearing about that about you. Yeah, I remember hearing that about you. That's great.
Yes, I didn't know it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it at the time, but as soon as I heard about the Sweat Lodge, I'm in. And then I had to learn, we had to do meetings, the Native American meetings, and it was all run by Mexicans, by the way. I think there was maybe one partially Native, but I was probably more Native than all of them. But they knew. And you talked about substance earlier. Dave, the Sweat Lodge master, was also a herbalist, and he had a herb garden growing. And in the garden, the thistles, you could get the seeds, or like sunflower seeds, kind of, and you could chew on them. There's all sorts of good, like dandelion greens. How they're so healthy when you're cooking salads. A lot of stuff growing wild. And they had a plant there called lion's ear. And lion's ear, if you take the leaf of a lion's ear and dry it and crumble it up and roll it up like a joint, it will help you sleep.
Oh.
And it doesn't show any THC when you get drug tested. It'll help you sleep. It'll give you hallucinations.
What is this? What is it called again? I'm going to put this in my phone. Lion's what?
Lion's ear.
Lion's ear. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. You'll find it. It's a purple flower. It's a purple flower, and it grows like hedges, I think. And you can see it around. Yeah, the herbalist. Because a bunch of us were complaining, about not being able to smoke our weed, and he said, well, try this. And I did. And it's not addictive, I smoked a couple of times, but it wasn't that, not like weed, where you Jones for it,
Yeah.
But I was clean for almost 3 years,
Nice.
Nothing, because I wasn't going to give anybody the satisfaction of falling off the wagon, and because he drug tested me so much, pre-trial drug test, during the jail drug test, probation, every probation I go down there, they drug test me. They were just determined to find something. And I was in there with a lawyer. He was a speechwriter for Reagan.
Wow.
And he was doing time. He was doing time because he wouldn't rat out Imelda Marcos.
Wow.
And so they gave him a year in prison, and then he got out. We spent. There was quite a few like intelligent doctors. There were 7 doctors in there. I counted them, and for opioid abuse and stuff like that. But this one, the speechwriter, he gets out on probation, and then next thing you know, he's back in jail. When he went home, he took a half of Valium to sleep.
Wow.
And he got drug tested, and he come up dirty. They put his ass put him back in jail for a month.
Wow. That sucks. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Well,
yeah.
We not that we don't love all the prison talk, but we need to touch on your new venture, the bongs and the CBD and the mail order marijuana. What do you all got going on, man? You just running an
we got it all. Well, we're working toward Cheech and Chong dispensarias. That's the plan. Yeah, we're going to franchise it, and they're going to be around the world. But we're starting with San Francisco, and then we're going to have one in Palm Springs. I mean, this is happening now as we speak. And then we've gone public with it. You can buy stock, and I've got a lot of my rich Trumpy friends, by the way, the billionaires that are buying my stock. And then we got the best quality weed, and then our CBD line is going crazy. because we can sell it in Walmart, and it's in practically every state in America, and it's selling really, really good. We got Nice Dreams for the nighttime, and we got Good Vibes for the daytime. And I'm sending some Good Vibes to Harris, my golf buddy, because I noticed he came close. He came second, but I saw him lose energy at the end of the match. And these Nice Vibes, people are using it to lose weight, because it also gives them energy without suppressing the appetite. And so that's really,
you
really
sell it by the
helpful.
pallet. I need a little bit of that.
They're tiny little bottles. Let's see, I got one somewhere around here.
So then so do you have like so all the weed and whatnot that you have, does that all come from one location, or is that like your fields, or like how does that work?
Not yet. They're not ours yet. We got the best growers. We've got people that will only deal with the best growers, and because of my name, we're very, very fussy. For a while there, way back when we first started, we had a couple of guys in there that they were calling it Chong's Choice. It was our first venture, but then we caught them selling this terrible weed, not the best weed. They're being cheap, and so we got rid of them. We got rid of them right away. You mess with the quality with me.
Still out there, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Chong's Choice is still out there, right?
Well, not really. As much as more like Tommy Chong's weed now.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a little bit of hangover from that. We got taken to court, and it's still in court. They're it's weird because they were doing illegal things. They were taking the money that was raised, and we weren't getting any of it. That was just going to them, and it wasn't going toward anything. The weed business is full of shysters like that.
Yeah.
And they take care. Here's another product that's really popular.
Oh, nice.
It's they're like breast strips,
Oh, okay.
And they're loaded with 10 milligrams of THC each one, and that's what my wife like takes these at night. She takes a half of one when she wakes up and she wants to go back to sleep. She'll take a half of one, and it just puts you right out.
Oh, really?
And that's
Those all over?
I went to. What's that?
You ship those all over, or is that
not? There are certain places that you can't ship it to, but in fact, I'm not really familiar with what you can, what places you can go to, and that because most places, they're still got the underground going, and
that's we're not legal here.
Yeah, where's that? Where are you?
Minnesota.
Yeah, like Minnesota now. In fact, I got friends that want some where they live in. Well, they're in Pennsylvania. Same thing. You can't get that there.
Yeah.
But eventually we're going to get it. We're going to do a push for federally legal weed coming up.
How much
There's
of that, how much do you think is on your back? Like the whole 420 and the whole legalizing marijuana and whatnot. How much of that push do you feel like? Because I mean, you're big into this. This is your deal, and how how much do you consider yourself the reason for all this happening? I mean, California was first, obviously. Was California first? I don't know.
No, Colorado.
Colorado, yeah. But so
Colorado's first.
But you've been very active with this, and now we're moving on to federal, which it just makes sense.
Yeah,
to go all the way through. But how much time and energy and activity are you still putting into the legalization portion of it, rather than running your venture?
Well, no, we do it the same thing at the same time. Whenever I make appearances or I've got legal connections, and we're having to be patient. That's what I tell everybody, when baby steps, you legalize it, and then I go there and we teach people, that it's not a fly by night thing, it's a lifestyle. And if people, react like, well, in fact, I was with these young kids and at dinner, and they're offsprings of the investors, and they told me, I've never smoked weed, and what should I do? And I said, well, study about, don't put anything in your mouth unless you know exactly what it's going to do to you.
Right. Right.
Don't be.
Pro tip.
Yeah. You study. I did. When I got turned on, I didn't right away smoke it up. I put that joint in my pocket, and then the guy that gave me, he lit up one of his, and my first toke, whoa, just put me, right on the path. But that one joint, man, it lasted me a month. I'm still like that. that. Because in Canada, you don't know when you're going to get another joint, know. Oh. And you usually shared it with everybody. And we're musicians, so we take a little dope, and when we're rolling joints or something, a little bundle or a little bud falls on the floor. You get on the floor picking it up.
Hell yeah, you do. You don't let that shit go to waste. Come on.
No, it goes to waste. And you get marijuana dust. That's good, man. That makes little spinners.
How are you? I'm pushing on your memory here with your dates. Can you pinpoint the point where your 1967 to 1980-ish 90s weed turned into this crazy shit that they have now? Like there was a point where it went from like, I don't want to say recreational, but like
you eat right by off the corner.
Well, like the dirt weed. Yeah. Dirt weed. We call it dirt weed.
Yep.
Because when they bring it up from Mexico, they put dirt and sugar and all sorts of crap in there, make it heavy. So you put it on a scale, you go, oh yeah, there's a pound. But of that pound, maybe half the pound is crap.
But today's weed is noticeably stronger and different than any of that shit ever was. Like this stuff nowadays
it's cleaner. That's all. It's just cleaner. It's not any stronger. It doesn't do any more. Hey, listen, I've had weed back in the day, hash. That when they do dabs now. Well, back in the day it was hash. Yeah. And you know what hash is? Especially you get it from Nepal. You get the pollen, not the pollen. I'm sorry, the crystals from the bud, and they take that and then they press it into a thing, and they make little hash cookies or hash balls, and that is pure as you'll ever find growing now today. Back in, and this is in Nepal, and this is India, and some of the indica that grows in the mountains. I mean, that stuff will put you to sleep, put you in a coma. Primo. If you smoke too much. Yeah. So the only thing you're getting now is a cleaner product, because you don't have that additive, that mixture. Yeah. And so some of the bud, they've tested it. It's got a tremendous amount of THC, But what we're looking for is, especially for our weed, is not so much the powerful CBD, but the mixture of the plant, the healthy plant, so you can get the CBD. See, that's the healing parts. The THC also heals, and the THC has cured skin cancer, for instance. You put the topical, the weed itself on a skin. Like one guy in Canada, Rick Simpson, they call him. He had a skin blemish or something, and the doctor was going to remove it, but he put the THC on right on on the sore,
Mhm.
and the sore disappeared.
Wow.
Weed's amazing. Weed's amazing.
And you know the doctors did?
Huh.
They called the police. They called the police because he
Yep.
took a job away from them by healing himself. So that's the mentality we're dealing with.
Mhm.
You know,
Why
just
is
like
do you have a book out?
What's that?
Why don't you have a book?
There's enough on there on the phone now. No. No, I'm going to do a book. I'm going to do a book of
Stories. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You
No, I'm going to do a book of poetry, because that's my next gig.
I published a poetry book last year. I write poetry, so I published one last year.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah. So that's great to hear. I love poetry. It's great. Good for you.
Oh, well, let's stay in touch. You can help me publish mine.
Okay. I'm sure you have more connections than me. So yeah.
Not really. Not really.
Yeah.
I would rather talk to someone that has gone through it.
It's an amazing process. It really is. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah. Well, text me your number or something, and
Great.
because yeah, I'm at that stage now, because I write all the time. I wake up in the middle of the night, and if I hear phrases or words, I collect them.
Yep.
I collect them, and then I write on my phone, and then and they become like I said, that Does Your Mama Know About Me was a poem.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I do perform it again, I never sang it myself, because I don't have that Bobby Taylor voice. But I was practicing here in my studio, and I was practicing reading it like a poem, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, good for you. Yeah, I'll definitely keep in contact with you, and yeah, whatever advice I can give you. It's a great process. It's really cool to put a book together. And my publisher said to me one time, he was just like, regardless of if this is the only book that you do, he's like, your words are always going to live on. And I just sort of love that. And I was like, okay, that's the impression I can make when my words are living on. So.
Well, that little girl at Biden's inauguration,
yes, great.
She just knocked me off the chair. I looked at her, and I listened to her, and I noticed how everybody was just enraptured by her. And then I noticed when you dissect songs, like a lot of rap songs, a lot of vocals in that, you hear the words are so beautiful, and people they're totally missing the meaning.
Yeah.
Like the song "My Funny Valentine." You make me smile with your heart.
Oh,
that word, that phrase,
that
phrase, you make me smile with my heart. And I've heard that song a million times. I never really paid attention to it, So yeah, I love being a poet, and also I love. I'm kind of done. I'm done with I'll have music, but it'll be soft jazz. Something. I'm done with the loud.
You think?
Come on, let's go one more time.
Think you'll do? Are you doing any more comedy dates? Are you doing any stand up kind of stuff?
Nope.
No.
I think that's done. In fact, I know it's done. No, I'm a poet now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you're putting a book together. I was really hoping for like a biography kind of thing, autobiography.
Well, I've got one out called Meditations from the Joint. It's Harper Collins, is it?
Collins? Sure.
Yeah. Meditations from the Joint. It tells about my journey in prison and that, And then I got another book out called Cheech and Chong Story. I've talked about the Cheech wrote his version.
Love it.
he wrote,
cover everything.
He contradicted all of my things. And the thing is, I got to tell you, man, I only deal in truth.
Respect.
And no, one of Cheech's talents is that he can lie like a motherfucker.
Wow. Okay.
and he does. He does. Now, I'm not afraid to say it now because we did the pickup, for the documentary, and no, we were in Hawaii, and we're about to play the Waikiki Bowl in Hawaii, and Cheech, he's backstage. Now, he was known for his memory. He says, this is the first time we played here. And I looked at Cheech. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah, we never played here before. And I looked, is he joking? Because I was jokes.
Yeah.
He wasn't joking. And he started to argue with me. And the way he argues, is that, no, man, he's much smarter. He got a way better memory than me. He's a bit more educated. He's all of that. And finally, one of the guys that owned the Waikiki, or the promoters, he come up, he said, hey, look, I found the newspaper article of when you guys last played here.
Very nice.
With pictures.
Even the pictures.
Oh, man. No, my spiritual upbringing taught me the power. There's power to truth. In fact, truth has got so much power.
Yeah.
You can't move it. You can't do nothing with it. You can mess with it, but you can't change it.
I like something I heard you say in an interview where you said people who don't tell the truth are like lazy because they don't want to accept it or like deal with it. And I thought that was sort of cool, like the way that you presented, like how you said that. I was like, it is true. Like they're being lazy because they don't want to put the work in to actually tell the truth, because they don't want to have like everything that follows with the truth that brings what the people bring. Yeah.
Which is respect.
Yeah.
No matter, as long as you're truthful, it doesn't matter what you've done. You get respect right away.
Yep.
Right away. And the opposite. Once you get caught in a lie, that's what you lose.
Yeah.
You may not lose money, you may not lose position, but you lose respect.
Yep.
And that's the only thing. Our reputations are the only thing that we leave behind.
Yeah. So
when
true.
we die. That's all we leave. As far as the money or house or cars or anything, that is nothing. But it's who you are, what you were. And that's why a lot of times they say, how do you like to be remembered? Well, for sure, I want to be remembered as the guy that told the truth. Yeah, because I found that is so powerful.
It is.
And that's the books, like you're talking about, how people, get tired of religion, or they don't, like my daughter's funny, she watches the Scientology show every night because it puts her to sleep. the expose of Scientology, she watches it every night. She's visiting us from Toronto, and she's sleeping in my office here, and I got, every time I come in, she's watching. She has it on. But ever since she's a little girl, she used to fall asleep with the TV on, and now that's the way she sleeps. But yeah, you can do so much with truth. Like if Trump had been just this much truthful, he'd still be president. If he could just say, "I don't know," just once. Say, I really don't know. I'll have to look into that.
He's never taught that word. He's never taught, I don't know. Okay.
No, he's lazy. He's lazy. It's much rather easier to say, oh yeah, I got a degree in English, than to actually have one.
Yep.
But that's the way it is. But and I've learned now that I feel sorry and I forgive everybody that do things like that. I don't. There's another thing too, like you don't want to pray if you got some feelings inside you against somebody else or something else. Take care of that. Clean up that one first, and then submit your prayer. Prayer has been working for me like crazy lately.
Hair is
Oh,
very powerful thing.
oh my! Last night I woke up. I had the worst case of it, like that acidy feeling. You know, what's it called?
Acid reflux.
Yeah, the worst case. And I went to the refrigerator. I got found some pickle juice. You know, that usually helps.
Okay.
Or apple vinegar. Apple vinegar helps.
Acid, eh?
And so I tried it. It still didn't work. And so then I said, you know what? I'm going to pray this away. And so I did. And it worked.
Yeah.
And I worked up this morning, all gone. Everything gone. And usually, you know, that's my last, you know, well, you know, they say, they always say he didn't have a prayer, doesn't have a prayer. You know, people do that, you know, they don't go to the Almighty until there's nothing else to do. Oh, okay, then, oh God, help, you know.
Yeah.
But if you go there first, I do that with my phone all the time. I lose this phone all the time. And then I got a conversation with God. I said, okay, God, where's my phone?
Love it.
I'm not sure you got time to be looking for your phone. You're abusing the privilege.
Half the time I got it in my hand.
That brings us back to the drugs.
Sure.
I know. We're running long here, Sarge. We gotta wrap things up. You've been a complete joy. I think you got stories on top of stories.
I do.
I think
I do.
A really amazing journey that you've had, and it was great that you were able to give us a little bit of time and and let us into the window. It's stories on top of stories. So where's the best place for people to find your product or find more about what you got going on?
Online, TommyChong.com, you know, or Tommy, what is it? Get CBD, Tommy Chong's Get CBD, something like that. I don't know. I never go online.
Quite a commercial, right?
I love it. I love it.
It's pretty active on like social media and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Well, we got kicked off of Facebook because of the drug content. Yeah.
Wow.
Cheech and Chong got kicked off. We had millions of viewers and they kicked us off, but they're advertising my CBD on Facebook.
Okay, what the hell?
Full circle, baby.
Yeah, it's I really, you know, I'm the worst. In fact, my son won't let me have a Instagram thing. I was with these young kids and they said, well, let me look up Instagram. They looked at my phone. They go, oh, you don't have an Instagram. My son, because for a while there, especially when Trump was in, you know, I was like a big anti-Trumper.
Yeah.
And so
they just took it away from you. I love it.
Yeah, my daughter's taking my dog out for a walk. He doesn't want to go. He's lazy as I. He's as lazy as I am. Oh, he's cute. Aww. He's cute. Yeah. You know, I wish I don't really. You know, people, if they want my product, they'll find it.
Yeah. You know? Right.
That's one thing about weed, man. It sells itself.
Yes.
That's true. You know what I mean? You don't have to do any fancy things. I mean, we do giveaways. I mean, we do what do you call it? You know, 2-for-1s and all that stuff. You know, but that's their problem.
You have all the different strain mixes and stuff for like.
Yep.
You know,
we got well, basically there's two. There's sativa and there's indica. Yeah. And that's all you got to remember. And the indica can be a little more stronger and make you more lethargic and sleepy. And my dog just came back. He didn't go for a walk. He escaped. Precious.
Oh. Yeah.
He's oh no, Callie's here. My little granddaughter. My little granddaughter is here with him. Oh. You're not taking him out for a walk? No. What was I saying? I can't remember it.
Oh, about the sativa and the indica.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know, the CBD, that's what I really recommend for everybody. You know, oh, and pain. Oh, the pain, the ointment. Oh, it works so good. You know, I was weird. I'm getting this weird feeling in my hands, you know. And you know, because I do a lot of cameos, and a lot of cameos, they ask me to get high with them, and so a lot of times I'm high and I'm feeling weird because I'm high, and so my hands are, you know, sore, and then I realized, man, I'm a guitar player. I've been playing so long, I forget that it takes strength and muscle to play a guitar.
It does. It does.
Ramp it up.
Yeah, but oh god, and that's another thing. That's another thing. You know, people say, "How do you get through this pandemic?" Well, I'm a comedian, and I've been enjoying my own comedy through the whole pandemic because I do some stupid things that I only I could enjoy. I mean, really funny thing. I'm going to start doing more like TikTok kind of thing. In fact, we might do a podcast. We're working on that too. But I devised a way to do a workout without going to the gym, doing house chores and gardening. For instance, I there's a way to sweep the side or the back, you know, the patio, and dance tango.
You're putting
prison. Oh, I got you. I love it.
You put the broom on your chest.
You go.
And it's a push broom. It's a push broom.
Yep.
And because the idea of tango is that you lead, the men lead with their chest. You lead with your chest.
Yeah.
You see, you got your chest out there. And if you put the broom there, now you can do the exercise.
Yes.
Because it's a push with your legs and you lead with your chest. And the hardest thing about tango is the tango walk, like I said. And the secret to the tango walk is that you engage your legs while you're standing.
Okay.
You know, you don't lose them. You engage your legs and your butt. Everything gets like rigid. And so if you're standing on one leg or the other, you got perfect balance and your head doesn't move. And so you got this perfect balance. Now I practice that all the time now. And because I got really embarrassed. I was on Dancing with the Stars, and I tangoed. I got a 10 in tango from the comedian. And then, but then after the show ended, I took my wife dancing. I couldn't dance with her.
Oh.
I couldn't because I was so used to dancing, being back-led by pros. You know, these are professional dancers. They will have you do a step that you never knew you do. And it'll look so simple. But when you're dancing with your partner that doesn't you know, that expects to be led, I didn't know how to lead.
Okay.
And so I'm spending almost a couple of years now learning how to lead.
That's great.
And we did a little TikTok one time, and I'm better.
Okay, well, that's good.
Or did you get it with the Stars?
I got to the finals. I made it right up to the finals.
Very nice.
And well, you know, I made it past the semifinals.
Yeah.
And then I was the guy that had to go for the remainder to be the ones that did it. And I was so glad, man. I was so glad to get off that show.
Easy ass workout. Like,
oh my God. Yeah. That was a workout. I mean, I think I got cancer from it. I think that's when the rectal cancer came in because I never had it before. And then after Dancing with the Stars, man, I was I think a couple of weeks later, I was getting an operation, you know, because of the stress.
I don't know if that was gonna hold.
Wow.
The stress. No, for my age. I'm talking about my age. You know, you know, for anybody else, because the judges were sitting there, they were amazed. What's the name? What's the old guy? Lenny Lenny was sitting there. He says, yeah, I look at how old you are. I was older than Lenny.
Oh, wow.
And Lenny couldn't do any of the stuff that I was doing. And Lenny was amazed. I mean, that's why that's one of the reasons they kept me on so long, because it's the audience and everything else. But I really, you know, you put a camera or a movie camera or something on me, I will deliver. You know, it's just my nature.
We're like
I believe that.
An hour 40 into it. I didn't recognize that.
Oh yeah, we're getting deep. I was asking Darren if I could ask you this question because there's something that I heard. So you said that you want to go to Laos because like a lot of my best friends are like 20 plus years are Laotian. My ex is Laotian, Chinese. So it's just like, and I'm huge about Laos. I talk about it all the time. I cook the food. I know to speak a little bit of Laos. And when I heard that you said you wanted to go to Laos, I literally like stood up and like was clapping. I was like, yes.
Oh yeah.
Laos
well,
is, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm watching all these travel shows.
Yes.
You know, that's why I don't watch, you know, the dramas or the comedies or anything. I watch travel shows.
Okay.
Because I'm picking up places where I want to go. I saw this picture of Laos. It's in the mountains.
Yep.
And the villages are like hippie villages.
It's amazing.
You know?
Yeah.
And their jobs, their textiles. They make beautiful clothes. And Laos is all about food and beauty.
Yeah, it really is.
It's beauty and their gentleness. And they got a herd of elephants that hide in the bamboo forest. You don't even see them. They're hidden. And they're hidden. And they're elephants. How do you hide an elephant? and the people and the culture, they're so evolved. I mean, oh my God, I saw that. And my son, he's married now to she's from Jakarta, Indonesian. But he had a Laos, not really a girlfriend, but a date that he took out. Beautiful, so beautiful, and their ways are so beautiful.
It is,
and it's so, I don't know. They remind me of like birds in the jungle. You know, they're so gentle. The voice, the sound. You know, a lot of places around the world, it's harsh. You know, they got that. The Laotians they're like, it's like birds. Listen to birds sing when you hear them talk.
It's very captivating. It's very, very captivating. I like fell in love with the food. I mean, I was with my ex for 16 years, but like when I first started eating the food, I was like 17 and I was like, what is this amazing cuisine? Like I was like, felt I was gypped for my whole life up to a certain point. Like it's amazing. Like just the culture, the food, the land, everything. And it just made my heart happy that someone said Laos, because when you talk about not a lot of people know about Laos, where it's at and what it's about. And it's like to hear someone say that, it made my heart happy. So like, that's why I had to bring it up. I was like, now I even love you even more because you talked about Laos.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because that's what I'm looking for now. I'm because that's what I'm going to do with my life now. I'm just going to look for beauty. You know, I wrote a poem. It's look around and you will see the reflections of your mind. If you look for love with an open heart, love is all that you will find.
Oh man, okay. I like it. Look at you. I love it. Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're deep. You can feel it. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So shall I leave you with that?
Yes. Yes. Beautiful way to leave it.
Tommy, we can't thank you for all the time, man. You've great. I'll probably get this out in a day or so. I'll get you a copy of it. Make some magic.
Sure. Well, anytime I'm available, and text me your number so I can get
definitely
my
will
poetry.
do. Definitely will do. Yes, definitely will do. Thank you so much. This was great. Seriously.
I
love you. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.